Hello and welcome to the Creator Academy, a place where we talk about everything to do with creation, either for photos or videos. And today is a little bit of a mix of the two. We're gonna be talking about how to make a hyperlapse. It's a very cool effect that you can make to spice up your videos, especially for like travel or vlogs and even for like cinematics. And it actually can be done with anything like a camera, maybe an action camera, maybe your phone, anything that takes photos can actually make the hyperlapse. Making a hyperlapse is actually two things. First off is the making of it in terms of like the real world where we are at the location and doing the hyperlapse, the shooting, and then the second part is the editing. So we're gonna go over both of the things right now. The biggest point is you have to take photos, and the best thing is to either have set like an autofocus point or have the grid system on the screen so that you can actually do one thing that is very important when doing this. You see, every photo will have to have one point of interest that will be in the same exact spot. Well, maybe I want to use the top of the tower, the tip of the tower as like the point of interest that will not change throughout any of the photos. So what I will usually do is set my autofocus on the screen to the location that I'm gonna be having the point of interest. So for example, it could be a window, it could be a tree, whatever the point of interest is, that is where I'm gonna have the point on the camera of my autofocus. It could be just the grid system that you might have. Just remember to have that one specific spot in the same exact position no matter where you stand. Thanks to this, it will make it look like it's a flowing motion. So how do we do this? Well, we're gonna take a photo from the location that you're standing, and after that, all you have to do is take a photo, take one step forward, and take a photo again. And one step forward, photo again. One step forward, and again. We pretty much repeat this process for as much as we need. Just a heads up, is actually a little bit of a time-consuming thing, but I think the end result is very good. I've done it multiple times here in Krakow, in Rome, and the end results were very cool. And like I said, we were pretty much making it one step at a time. And just so that you know how much photos you will need. If we're shooting in 30 frames per second, our video is in 30 frames per second, and we want to keep that to be the video be in 30 frames per second, so we want the hyperlapse to be in 30 frames per second too. For every 30 photos that we take, so every pretty much 30 steps we're gonna make, is gonna be actually 1 second of usable footage. And just a heads up, I said one step after every photo. It doesn't have to be one step, it could be like 5 meters. It all depends on the subject, where it is, where you're standing, and how much of a big difference you want to have it with the movement. But I think one step works very good. It has been working out great for me, pretty much close to the perfect distance between every photo. So coming back to the frames per second, if we want to have, for example, 3-second hyperlapse, and we're shooting the video in 30 frames per second, the whole project is in 30 frames per second. Well, then we have to actually do 3 seconds by 30 frames. That gives us 90 frames. So that means we need to have 90 shots, 90 photos in a sequence. Sometimes I'll do much more, and even in the end product, I'll actually include a little bit less because I feel like that has been enough. But it's better to have more than less. For example, if you're doing 24 frames per second timeline, you only need 24 frames, so 24 actual photos for each second of the footage. And once we're done with the shooting, the step 2 of creating a hyperlapse is all done on the computer. So we're gonna actually head to the computer right now. So right now we are on our laptop. I have actually imported our photos from Rome, from the hyperlapse into Lightroom. So how do we do this? It all depends how you want your photos. If you have JPEGs ready from your phone or whatever, you can skip this part, but if you want to have the best quality possible and you took the photos in RAW and you want to edit them, all you have to do is edit one of them. So for example, I'm gonna edit this one. I'm gonna really quickly just do like a very quick edit. I'm not gonna go overboard with it. I want it to look a little bit better, a little bit brighter, I guess. Let's add a little bit of clarity, texture, and vibrance in terms of the color, but not too much. And maybe a little bit of saturation. It is all pretty much your preference. There is no good or bad pretty much way to do this. Yeah, let's say this is the end result that we want from the photo. Now, all we have to do is actually go over to click for the first one, click on the last one. Now find the photo you were editing. So for me, that would be this one. And then when you click synchronize here, it's gonna synchronize all and synchronize again. It's gonna synchronize everything I did for all the photos. And now you have all the photos ready. So all you have to do is actually export them out of Lightroom. So we're gonna export, and I'm gonna make a specific folder for this on my desktop. It's gonna be the Hyperlapse folder, Hyperlapse, Rome. Let's do this like this. It's the waiting game until it's done. And it's gonna be the last thing to do, make this Hyperlapse. And now once we get the photos exported, we have to go into Premiere Pro or the software you're using, but let's do it on Premiere Pro because that is what I use. Hyperlapse, Rome, video. So now we have a blank project open. I only put this clip here just so that I have 30 frames per second. If you want to change, you can see here, you can change it here, 30 frames per second, full HD. It could be 4K if you wanted to, because you know, photos have that extra resolution, so you can do it whatever you want to do with them. Now what we do is go to File, Import. From here, we actually have to find it where it is, so Hyperlapse Rome. Click on the first one, make sure this one is checked, image sequence, and open. Pretty much all we have to do. Now if we actually put it in here, you can see it's 3 seconds. Keep existing settings, and now all we have to do is actually match the size of it to our clip. So for example, full HD, let's put it like this, somewhere right here. I would say maybe 32, should be right. And now even if we were to look at it, I'm gonna actually render it out so you can see how it looks like. It's not gonna be done. It's not gonna be done because it's not gonna look too good. You'll notice that it doesn't look as good as it could because there's one more thing we can do to make it actually much better. And as you can see, it's not as good as it could be. It's very jumpy. What we can do is actually go and nest the clip and then apply warp stabilizer. If we do that, and I'm gonna do for now just 10%, let it go for the how much it's gonna need it, and once we get it, we'll see how the result is, if we need more or less warp stabilizer. Okay, so it's done. I'm actually gonna render it out once again just to make sure that it is in the way we want it to be, so it's not bad and we can really smoothly see how it is, so that I can actually adjust in case we need to. And let's see the end result. It's 10% smoothness, but it might be more or less depending how much movement it's going to be on your photo. Well, then you might have to do more or less. Just try it out and see what works for you. Something I wanted to mention right away, my point of interest for all of this was this. I think I put this in the middle of my frame, and it was, yes, I think it was that point right there. It was all the time in the same spot. So 10%, and let's see how it looks like. It looks great. And just like that, we have a very nice, beautiful, and very usable hyperlapse, which I think is very good looking, and you can put it in 4K if you want, if you have that resolution, depending on your project. Smoothness for the warp stabilizer, work with it, see what works for you. And that is pretty much the end result, and I think it looks very good. Like, hyperlapses are something that is very cool to make, and something that isn't really hard to make. Like, I really have to say this, it's much easier than I expected it to be. So that is all for today. I hope you learned something new today. I hope this is actually gonna improve your filmmaking and having that extra spice in your videos. Couple of things that I wanted to mention very quickly before we end this video. First off, if you like the music in this video or in any other of my work, check out Epidemic Sound. It's gonna be linked down below, and if you choose to sign up through that link, you'll get 30 days free. And if you become a paying subscriber, well, there's gonna be a kickback from me. Second off, if you want to support this channel, check out my Patreon and my website. If you become a patron, well, there's things coming back your way. We send out monthly postcards from the places that we visit. Some of them are bought from the location, are actually made from our photos, stitched together into a postcard and with a handmade drawings on the back. And last but not least, if you want to join a travel community, check out Travel the World. It's a Facebook travel community, and if you're into that kind of stuff, check it out. It's gonna be linked down below. So that's gonna be it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video once again, and I'll see you next time.